I'm Brian with New Car Spin. It's cold and a little breezy, but it's worth it because I have the brand new 2019 Audi A7. Nice cool lighting on this car, and look at this, I love this design. Let's open the trunk real quick. Obviously it's a power trunk. Here we have a large trunk area, and we have controls to lock it and shut it. There are different ways you can open and close. It has really nice wheels. It's the standard brilliant black, I believe. We have all the tech on here. Brand new grille, brand new look, just really streamlined, really cool. I don't have the window sticker. Just kidding, I have the window sticker right here. They printed it out for me. It's actually Mythos black, so it's metallic. So we have the same V6 we get in the S4, the S5, the A8, the Q8, and they don't even talk about horsepower, just like me. It doesn't matter. It's all about the driving dynamic. So here we are. The standard price is $68,000. This is a Prestige, but it doesn't have the massage seats. But it does have, does have driver assistance package, the optional 21-inch wheel package. Those are awesome looking wheels in person. And cold weather package, so it has heated rear seats, and it totals out at $83,240. So this is a shade off of the Q8 and the A8 that I drove today. This is actually the most affordable one, let's just say that, of the three I drove today. Let me know what you think compared to the Q8. I'd be really interested in knowing. Let's just drive it. Let's get inside. You'll see right away, it does have an S badge. That's the S line badge. This is not an S7. The S7, the RS7, that won't come out till next year. And this battery's running low, so let's get inside, switch cameras, let's get on with this job. Before I do, nice stitching, great open pore wood, nice metallic look here on the buttons that integrate with the handle. Bang & Olufsen, just insane inside. Let's look at the back real quick. Same ambiance in the back. Okay, so today I have driven the Q8, the A8, and now the A7. There are differences among all of them, but the similarity is that they all have this same screen setup now. So when you start the car, everything comes to life. And it always starts on climate control, and we all have the same virtual cockpit. So you can go through with different settings and you can see the different views. We're in dynamic mode, as you can see here. To change that, you just go to drive select. When you press the screen, just like in the Q8 and the A8, this interface here doesn't necessarily work like a cell phone screen. You can't just like tap it. So there's no accidental tapping here, as you can see. You can't just tap it. You actually have to physically touch it, like this, and you hear a click. So we'll turn my heated seats on, and this does not have the optional massage seats like I had in the Q8 and I had in the A8. This is mainly like a very medium trimmed out, medium optioned out A7. So this is kind of like one of the more popular ones you're gonna see. So let's just take it around the block, see what it feels like. This is the same V6 you'll get in the Q8 and the A8 and the A6 and the S4. So they've kind of simplified and broadened the range of that V6 engine. And the A7 has always had a V6. This is what you get, the A7 V6. And it's really just about how many options you want, and that dictates the price you're gonna pay. So without talking anymore, let's take it around the block. Let's listen to this thing. I'm gonna open it up a little bit. Of course, I'll go through the features. We have an armrest here. You open it up, you have this thing called the phone box. You can put your phone in there, it will wirelessly charge. It will connect to the phone receptor, whatever it's called. The antenna in the car is amplified to the phone inside this box, and that's a good thing. We have this adjustable armrest. It slides out, it goes up. It has several increments, and it's pretty comfortable. It's a little different in the Q8. If you're looking at the sex appeal, the A7 always has it. However, that Q8, oh boy, that thing is impressive. The one I drove was completely decked out, and I'm not going to tell you the price. Go ahead and guess the price and then watch that video. I can tell you that this A7 costs less, but this doesn't have as many of the refinements that Q8 has, which were all optional. So I can only imagine what you can do here in this A7 with the different leather and all this other stuff that you can get in these cars now. And that's the key. When you get an A7 without any options, pretty much you're still getting these screens, you're still getting drive select. What you're not getting in here is an air suspension, and those are optionals on the Q8 as well. So this is kind of like the toned back version. I've driven some fancy stuff today, and this is the last car I'm driving today. So I have 3 brand new Audi videos. Watch them all on my channel, New Car Spin. Subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Hit the bell. You'll get some updates when I launch new videos. 77 is pretty warm, so I'm just going to take the temp down a little bit. You can just drag your finger. That's the only exception on this screen, where you don't have to like physically push like an intentional push. You can actually just tap it. We'll turn off the auto stop start, and we have a button here where we can deploy that rear wing. So we'll keep that deployed because that's always fun. And if you had the air suspension, which I don't even know if it's optional in the A7, but I know it came standard on the previous generation S7. So some things I'm still kind of working out. Haven't done all my research on these things, but I do know that if you're looking for something a little bit more plush, Q8, that's for you. All right, we're in sport mode, dynamic mode, ready to go. We're gonna go around the block. Oh, there's the new Q8. Looking good. Hopefully you can see that on camera. When you get to a certain speed, standard in these cars is the seatbelts kind of cinch up to remove all the slack. So as you drive away, it makes sure you're nice and tucked in. Whew, that Q8 is stunning. What I noticed in the Q8 and the A8 is with these new designs, even in dynamic mode, they're still very quiet. Whew. Okay, the A7 is quiet, but it's a little louder than the others, and so it's a bit of an exception. So if you're looking for the sportier side of the Audis, A7 is the way to go. We're in dynamic. Well, actually, this is auto. Good. So we'll take this corner. Powers out just nicely. Drive select is available. Dynamic. It's probably the biggest turnoff. The biggest turnoff to me, without seeing it in person, has been the screens. But the layout here is pretty nice. There's a lot of room, and it's an overcast day, so I can't really comment on the glare or the dust or the fingerprints, but it's very simple to just glance down and see what you want. Nothing's really moving around, so that's a good thing. And the A7 to me has always been appealing. I once had a loaner car when I was in DC, and I had to drive down to South Carolina, and they gave me a loaner car for an entire week, and it was over Thanksgiving. And I got to drive an A7 from Washington, DC to Greenville, South Carolina. And that was a head turner. That was years ago when that car came out. It was tough to get around. People wanted to be around it all the time. People wanted to get a good look at it. And so, just like that, they want a good look. Let me go. Sure, I'll go. All right. The ride is not adjustable on this A7, and it rides like an Audi. I'm not going to sugarcoat or be very blunt. I'm just going to say it's what I expect. And when you're going through these corners, it's still planted because it has Quattro, so it's all-wheel drive. And this V6 is very, it's not the supercharged V6 that used to be in the A7s. It's a twin-scroll turbo V6. So it delivers power a little differently, and it's a lot quieter than the previous generation. However, compared to the Audis I've driven today, it makes a good amount of noise. All right. What we'll do is let that car go, and then we will get on the freeway, we'll blast off the freeway off-ramp, and then turn around and come back. And we'll get an impression of what this is like at high speeds. Of course, This has a lot of tech already. You can get even more tech. We have distance warning, auto braking, all that stuff. Radar cruise is available as well. And because I don't have the window sticker, all I do know is what I see. But when it comes to tech, there's a lot of stuff that you don't see, and you have to kind of look for it, or there are some buttons and settings. So we have lane departure warning, adaptive cruise assist with lane guidance, so it helps you drive in traffic and stop and go traffic. All sorts of really cool Audi stuff. And the real big thing is this console, this cluster, and this is the big deal. The seats are firm. They're Audi firm, and it's really about how this thing feels. So let's feel it out. Kind of stuck behind a lot of unfavorable vehicles today because we're in Austin, but once we get around everything, we'll be fine. Passing power is really good. Adequate, I would say. It definitely gets up there, but again, it's so quiet. And I almost complained about this in the S4 when I drove it last year. You feel this sensation, and you feel the ride quality, but you don't hear it anymore. There's no more audible excitement to it. And that may be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. It depends on who you are and what you're looking for. I do know that a loud car all the time in traffic is going to be annoying. So this may be sort of like their way of saying, hey, you know, we're making cars that people actually want to live with, rather than cars that keep people engaged. I don't know. That could just be nonsense I just made up. But you're looking at the features, the touches. This is kind of high. I'll admit that. Not very comfortable, but it completes that sleek coupe look kind of thing. If that's your thing. If it's not, there's the Q8 now, which the Q8's the way to go. All right, we'll get on the freeway this way. It's green, which means you go. Oh yeah, feels good. And of course, the sunroof is really big. And we have the same sort of like traditional Audi sunroof controls. All the controls are traditional here, except for this screen. Just keep that in mind. I call it one screen, but it's really split into two. But they kind of like interface with each other. Navigation input's interesting on this car as well. We have heads-up display. It shows the speed limit. It shows the speed I'm doing. And you can change all the settings in the vehicle through this display now. It's like a carryover from the existing A7 into a new realm of tech. And that's kind of what the A4/S4 did when it came out 2 years ago. And so it looks radically new, but in the end, like, this is more of a traditional Audi change-up. It looks good, but they haven't been a complete departure. The only Audi I've driven that's new, that feels like a complete departure, is the A8. It's much bigger than it used to be, and it feels so much different than the A8s I remember. And it actually has the same V6 as all of these other vehicles: the Q8, the A7, the Q7, the S4, the S5, all of that stuff. So it's really like you're getting the same car in a different package now. So do you want a 4-door coupe? Do you want a 2-door coupe? Do you want a sedan? Do you want an SUV? This is where they're going with it. And because of that, that emotional aspect has been removed. And it's really, the hope is that it's really the same monthly payment, and you're getting what fits you the best. To me, this car is so much more style and substance than any other Audi. that you can get in the lineup. The Q8 is probably the exception to that now. So if you're not really taking kids to school or whatever, you don't need an SUV. You're really looking at something like an S4, an A6, maybe the S5 Sportback, stuff like that. This is bigger than the S5 Sportback. This is the original. The A7 is like the best approach at a four-door coupe. Let's take this corner real quick. Oh yeah. Nice over speed bumps. Traction control doesn't seem to be giving me any issues, even though we have gloss on the tires. This thing was recently washed, so it's definitely grippy, even though it's got glossy sidewalls. Woo! This thing's entertaining. I like this one. I like it a lot. It just seems to be an improvement over the old one. The old one to me was perfect, and I thought, why would you change it? Why would you do anything to it? And I think what they did here was they preserved that essence of what it was. So if you're kind of like, oh, I have the original A7 and nothing's going to take me away from it, I think you need to drive the new one and just understand that the tech has been added to it in a way where, yeah, it's going to be different, but at the same time, it's a subtle difference from the rest of the car. The rest of it is the A7 you know. Even though the engine's different, it's not a complete drastic change, which is sort of like Audis. Like the new Audis, you can hardly tell them from the old Audis sometimes, but in this case, that's the Q8, by the way, which is radical. In this case, the A7 is still stylish. It still feels like the original A7, but it has a very fresh take on tech. I'm Brian with New Car Spin. I want to thank Audi of South Austin for letting me drive the new A7. They have more on the lot, and they're being sold about every hour, so I was lucky enough to get my hands on this one. So I want to thank John and Joe and Marcio and Patrick, all the cool people here who love it when I do these shots on their cars. Obviously, I do this for you. So please like and subscribe and comment and hit the bell, and I've got more on the way. Be sure to check out the A8 that I drove, that one right there actually, and the Q8, the one that we just passed, and the S4 I've driven, the S5 Sportback, the RS5. I've driven them all, and I couldn't have done it without Audi of South Austin. And maybe one day I'll get a press car from Audi, but it's been years, so we'll see. Thanks for watching.